I gotta ask again. Are you guys ready for the final alpha 2v2 tier list? Alright, so this was my previous one. Okay? There's one character I was so wrong about in 2v2s. And I just gotta ask, please don't make fun of me. It was Jake. Nah, it was Velma. So this is my initial twos tier list. I think for the most part, things are pretty accurate. But I will be changing things around as the meta did shift kind of a drastic amount in the last week or so. So again, the one character I was really wrong about was Velma. Now, a big thing for me, I thought the cop car was a big part of Velma's gameplay. And I just gotta say, I was completely wrong. The cop car has killed one person in my week of playing. It was me. It was really sad and really funny at the same time. But that's not really what makes Velma strong. The things that make Velma strong, I think she has really, it's like Tom. She has really good normals, really good projectiles, and projectiles are really good on this patch. I'd probably move Velma up here. I think Velma is more of a high tier character. Just to say that one, projectile perks are really good. And two, like literally she does mad damage. She has healing on her moves. And overall her moves are just really good. One thing that I think I might have to do, I think I'm going to move Iron Giant up a tier. Because I feel like I kind of underrated him a little bit. Iron Giant did bring in a lot of hype and a lot of viewership, and I think overall that's really respectable in comparison to a lot of the other characters. But also with that, I do truly think Superman and Garnet are a lot. I'm not gonna say, like, I thought these guys would be on the same tier, but I feel like Superman and Garnet are actually pretty dang solid, and this comes with a hit to other characters, in my opinion. But Superman's dodge is really good. He can create a lot of space. He occupies a lot of space with his body, which other characters occupy it with kind of other things. Like, imagine if Harley Nair was a character. That's kind of how I feel like with both Garnet and Superman. These characters just have massive hitboxes. They command a lot of space, a lot of armor, so it's hard to fight back against them. And that's one of the reasons why I think Wonder Woman's really good, is the armor aspect, right? So personally, I do think if I did have these tiers separated, I would move Superman and Garnet up. And that comes at a cost. So the cost, in my opinion, I think Taz is not that good. I don't think Taz is that great. I think I hella misread how good Taz was going to be. Taz does have a lot of like kill power. He has a lot of really good setups. But in a twos environment, I think it's really hard for Taz to thrive. He doesn't have range. He needs an enabler, which is very possible. Like Tornado's really easy to beat out. The fact that there's much more chaos to be caused than Taz, I think makes it a little harder for him. So, another character I actually think is on Taz tier is Batman. Batman is just, I don't know what it is, bro. He should be so much better in twos, but he's just not. He's really not good in twos. Batarang doesn't really matter. So outside of that, he's just a like scrappy character that doesn't really do much. He can follow up very well off of other characters' stuff. Smoke is pretty good. Even Batarang's still like really solid. But I feel like it's hard for Batman to thrive in the chaos of 2v2s. And I think the big part of that is he just hasn't had enough prep time. When the game releases, I'm sure Bruce will have enough intel on the rest of the cast to be a really strong character. But we're just not there yet. He still has to prep. And now that the alpha is done, I feel like Bruce finally has the time to prep. So we'll see what he's like when the game releases. Now there's one other big change that I think I need to make. And if you guys look at this list and you were kind of paying attention to the way the meta moved with the alpha, I'm sure you guys can guess who it is. Because one of these characters is not like the other. One of these characters are Finn. And I don't know whether to put Finn in this tier or in this tier. So I'm actually going to make a brand new tier just for Finn. And I'm going to call it A+. Because I feel like Finn can literally be the best character on the team or like the worst character. Playing against him in the past few days, I think, has been pretty insane, in my opinion. The Finn's hit confirms have evolved so drastically that I'm more scared of a Finn hitting me than any other character. However, I don't feel like Finn controls space with more than his body. So I think it's a little harder to put him in like a higher tier. But the fact that dodge attack and dodge jump and such exist in the game, I think makes Finn really good. To me, Finn has really high highs and really medium lows. So I would say that Finn is, overall, he's a really good character. He can take over a game or he cannot take over a game. And I think that in itself is worth noting. Now, one other thing I personally agree with. I think Wonder Woman should be moved down. The more I play, I feel like these four are the top characters. I feel like Wonder Woman is not on the same tier as them. Albeit she does enable a lot of the characters that she is with. I feel like these four characters on their own are like incredibly strong. This does go back to the fact that projectile perks are really good right now. So the fact that all four of these characters are very strong users of Ignite and Grey Health makes them really good to me. And Wonder Woman not really having access to that. The same thing with Finn. Finn doesn't really have access to that. In this current build of the game, I think makes these four characters kind of be more pronounced on top. I think Velma should at least be... I think at worst Velma's somewhere over here, if I want to be honest. But I haven't seen a lot of her personally. But I wouldn't be surprised if she's in this area. I think these three, I would assume Arya and Steven to me are a little stronger than Shaggy, are a little worse than Finn. So I think at this point, this is kind of the tier gaps. I don't think Arya is A+. I think Arya works in specific comps, but I don't think she works. And I think that's a big difference. Same thing with like Taz, Jake can work well. Superman, Garnet, they can work well. But it's a lot harder in a twos environment. Yeah. I still think Shaggy is pretty much exactly where he is. I also think Jake is exactly where he is. And I think the top four, at least with these four, I think these four are just incredibly solid. Mango to Velma on his team looked sick. You know what? Yeah, when I was watching Mango today, I have to say I do agree. That Velma was pretty S tier. That Velma is pretty S tier. Why do I think Jake's so low? If I want to be honest, Jake's disadvantage is one of the best in the game. I think it's hard to stop a Jake from recovering. But I don't think there's much more after that. Does that make sense? Like when a Jake comes back to the stage and he's one-piecing me, I feel like that's all I have to worry about. And because of that, I'm not overall scared of Jake. And then Shaggy's just a super solid character, has really good hit confirms, really good specials. I feel like you can stop a Shaggy from working, or you cannot stop a Shaggy from working. He's really good. If they nerf perks, I don't think projectile characters will be as strong. I don't think the projectiles themselves are the problem, because you can get zoned out, you can take it slow as well. But Ignite, for me, doing, like, it does way too much damage. Ignite does way too much damage. Gray Health promotes a lot of survivability, but I think Ignite is more of a problem than Gray Health, personally. And I think if the perks get reworked, then the meta will get reworked. I think Wonder Woman, Finn, Arya can become a lot better. I would assume Harley bugs are still going to be really good because they're not only good for their projectiles. Might get a little worse, but if the projectile perks get nerfed, which I assume they will, I would like the damaging perks to get little buffs, so that way we can just see a new game, you know? Maybe not put Finn. I don't feel like Finn actually works well with the way the meta is. I feel like he just works. I feel like he's super solid. I feel like same thing with Wonder Woman. I feel like they're just really good characters, but I just don't feel like they work with where the meta is. Because, yeah, Gray Health, Ignite, really good, to the point where you see people using the projectile defense perks, which are really good. Finn's really good at fighting that, but it's still hard when you have to fight two people. I think if you have a team in twos with any of these five, you're solid. I think if you have a team in twos with any of these two, you're still pretty solid. I think if you have a team in twos with these guys, it can be a little harder. So because I feel that way, I'm actually going to rename my tiers. I'm going to rename it to S plus and S, and then this is going to be A plus, and this is going to be A, and then I feel like this is just the worst tier, and I'm just going to put it as B. Because I feel like these characters are all really good on the team. This is like the top half, and then this is the more of the bottom half. Though the bottom half is still really strong. Nothing wrong with that. Though when we do get to play the game again, it will be a completely different game. You feel like I'm just carrying Tom? There are 5 Toms in the top 15 of top 30. 5. That's not a coincidence. Tom is ridiculous. I made them the Tom-pocalypse. The Tom-pocalypse. The catastrophe is on the way. But yeah, I think this, to me, is how the meta kind of finished for the alpha. I think it's cool to have like a 1 week, let's call it like a meta test, to see how far the meta can develop.
We've seen up smashes. We've seen a late
and I thought it was fun overall. If I had to give an order to this top 5, low-key, I hate bugs a lot, but low-key, I feel like this might be it. Dude, Tom and Jerry are just insane. Everyone hates bugs. They hate bugs. But one thing I've noticed, Jerry Slingshot is insane. Jerry Slingshot is insane. Bugs is not that crazy. Bugs is pretty good. Sniper Jerry, he's Jerry Slingshot's so bad, you're gonna hate that I'm playing the same character as you. I'll get them nerfed. I'll get them nerfed. So yeah, this is kind of my end of tier list 2v2. End of alpha 2v2 tier list. I'm surprised, dude. Finn is so scary. When the game changes, we're gonna be playing a completely different game, but oh man, I hope they keep, and I know they will, keep a lot of like how the characters act and their, let's say, personality via skill set. But I hope we all get to have fun with our characters the way that we did during this beta. You think projectiles? I think nerf the perks, see what happens from there. That's my logic.